on the edge of a quiet little town where fireflies danced over tall grass and the wind smelled like wildflowers, stood a tiny house with a blue roof. In that little house lived a girl named Clara. Clara loved the night sky more than anything else in the world. Every evening, just before bedtime, she would climb onto the creaky wooden bench beneath her bedroom window and gaze up at the stars. Some stars shimmered brightly, some twinkled softly, and some seemed to wink directly at her. Clara believed every star carried a wish. Not just any wish, but wishes from hearts all around the world. Birthday wishes, hopeful wishes, lonely wishes, tiny secret wishes whispered into pillows before sleep. Her grandmother used to tell her, the stars listen carefully to kind hearts, and Clara believed it completely. Every night, she made one wish of her own. I wish, she whispered softly, to see where the stars keep all the wishes. But wishes, as Clara would soon discover, have curious ways of coming true. One particularly quiet evening, the sky looked different. The stars sparkled brighter than usual, almost as if the heavens themselves were awake. A cool silver breeze drifted through Clara's open window. Then, tap, tap, tap. Clara blinked. A tiny glowing object had landed on her windowsill. She carefully leaned closer. It was a star. Not a giant star like the ones in the sky. A tiny one, small enough to fit in her hands. Its golden light flickered gently, like candlelight. Oh, Clara gasped softly. The little star trembled nervously. Then, to Clara's complete surprise, it sneezed. A puff of silver sparkles burst into the air. Clara giggled. You can sneeze? The tiny star floated upward and spun in a tiny circle. My name is Luma, it said, in a voice as soft as wind chimes. Clara nearly fell backward. You can talk. Of course, Luma replied proudly. Most stars can. Humans simply forget how to listen. Clara stared in amazement. You're real. And you, said Luma, are the girl who keeps wishing about the stars. Clara's eyes widened. You heard that? We hear every wish. Luma floated closer, especially the hopeful ones. Clara's heart fluttered with excitement. So, where do the wishes go? Luma smiled mysteriously. That, the little star whispered, is exactly why I came. Moments later, Clara wrapped herself in her warm yellow cardigan and quietly tiptoed outside beneath the moonlight. The town was asleep. Only the crickets sang softly in the grass. Luma floated beside her like a tiny lantern. Are we really going to the stars? Clara whispered. Yes, said Luma, but the journey is not easy. Clara smiled bravely. I'm ready. Luma twirled happily. Then the little star rose into the air, leaving behind a sparkling trail of golden dust. The dust circled Clara gently. The world around her shimmered. The trees blurred into silver shapes. The ground drifted farther away. And suddenly, Clara was floating. She gasped with delight. Below her, the little town looked like a glowing painting. The rivers sparkled like ribbons of glass. The forests became soft, dark waves beneath the moon. Higher and higher they climbed into the sky, past drifting clouds, past sleeping birds, past the silver moon itself, until finally, Clara saw something extraordinary. Hidden beyond the clouds was a great glowing pathway made entirely of stars, a star bridge. Thousands upon thousands of tiny lights stretched endlessly across the heavens, and every single star shimmered with whispers, wishes. Clara stepped carefully onto the glowing bridge. It felt warm beneath her feet. Around her floated stars of every shape and color. Blue stars, golden stars, tiny sparkling stars no bigger than pebbles. Some glowed brightly with laughter. Others flickered softly with sadness. "What are they doing?" Clara whispered. Luma floated beside her. Each star carries wishes from Earth. Clara listened closely, and slowly she began hearing them. "I hope my mama feels better. I wish for a puppy. I wish I wasn't lonely. I wish Papa comes home soon." Tiny voices drifted through the air like music. Clara's eyes filled with wonder. There are so many. "There are always many wishes," said Luma gently. "But not every wish needs magic." Clara looked confused. "What do you mean?" Luma drifted toward a small, flickering star. "Sometimes, wishes simply need hope." The little star suddenly brightened. Far below on Earth, a lonely boy smiled in his sleep. Clara watched in amazement. "The stars help people feel brave," Luma explained. "They remind hearts not to give up." As they continued across the star bridge, Clara noticed something strange. One section of the sky had gone dark, very dark. No stars shimmered there at all. The glowing pathway suddenly ended in shadows. Luma's cheerful expression faded. "Oh no," the little star whispered. "What happened?" Clara asked nervously. "The wishing sky is fading." Clara's stomach tightened. "Why?" Luma looked sadly toward the darkness. "Too many people have stopped believing in wishes." The dark sky crackled softly, like broken glass. Without hope, the stars weakened. And when stars weakened, wishes became harder to carry. Clara stared at the empty darkness. It felt cold, lonely, silent. "Can we fix it?" she asked. Luma hesitated. "There may still be one way." Luma guided Clara toward the oldest star in the heavens. It rested high above all the others, like a glowing silver lantern. Its light shimmered gently across the sky. "This," Luma whispered, "is the Keeper Star." The enormous star slowly opened bright, glowing eyes. "Welcome, Clara." Her voice sounded ancient and warm. Clara bowed politely. "Hello." The Keeper Star studied her carefully. "You have a hopeful heart." Clara smiled shyly. "I try." The Keeper Star dimmed slightly. The wishing sky grows weaker every year. Because people stop believing? Clara asked. Yes. The great star sighed softly. Without hope, stars lose their light. Clara looked worried. What happens if all the stars go dark? For a moment, the heavens became very quiet. Then the keeper star answered. The world forgets how to dream. Clara's chest tightened. That sounded terribly sad. There must be something we can do. The keeper star's silver light shimmered softly. There is. She looked directly at Clara. But it requires courage.
The keeper star explained that hidden deep within the darkened sky was a forgotten star called Lumora. Long ago, Lumora had been the brightest wish star of all. She carried the strongest hopes in the world. But over time, as sadness and fear spread across hearts, Lumora's light faded into darkness. Now she slept alone, beyond the broken edge of the wishing sky. If Lumora shines again, said the keeper star, the stars may recover. Clara nodded immediately. Then we should wake her up. Luma looked nervous. No one has traveled into the dark sky before. Clara swallowed hard. The darkness ahead looked endless. But then she remembered all the wishes she had heard. The lonely children, the frightened hearts, the hopeful dreams. She took a deep breath. I want to help. The keeper star smiled warmly. Then take this. A tiny silver lantern floated gently into Clara's hands. This lantern shines with hope itself, said the keeper star. But remember, the great star's voice softened. Hope grows strongest when shared. Together, Clara and Lumora crossed into the dark sky. Immediately, the warmth disappeared. The stars no longer sang. Cold winds whispered through empty darkness. Even the lantern flickered weakly. Clara held it tightly. It's scary here, she whispered. Lumora floated closer beside her. I know. Far in the distance, enormous shadow clouds drifted slowly across the sky. They murmured with voices full of doubt. Wishes never come true. Dreams disappear. Hope is foolish. The shadows wrapped around Clara like icy fog. Her steps slowed. Maybe the shadows were right. She was enormous, beautiful, but dim and silent. Her once golden light had nearly vanished completely. Clara approached carefully. Lumora? She whispered. No answer. Luma floated sadly beside her. She's almost gone. The darkness curled around the great star like chains. Clara looked at the lantern. Hope grows strongest when shared. Slowly, Clara placed the lantern against Lumora's fading light. Then she closed her eyes and began sharing every hopeful thing she could remember. The laughter of children, warm hugs, birthday candles, rainbows after storms, friends helping each other, tiny acts of kindness, bedtime stories, gentle songs, love. The lantern glowed brighter and brighter. Luma joined in too. And suddenly, Soon, dawn began painting the edges of the sky pink and gold. Luma floated sadly beside Clara. It's time to go home. Clara looked up at the stars. She suddenly didn't want to leave. But the keeper star smiled kindly. The stars will always remember you. The star bridge shimmered beneath Clara's feet one final time. Then softly, gently, the sky carried her home. When Clara awoke the next morning, she was back in her little bedroom beside the window. Sunlight streamed softly across the floor. For a moment, she wondered if it had all been a dream. Then she noticed something glowing faintly beside her pillow. A tiny golden star. Luma. The little star winked playfully. Clara smiled. That night, she climbed onto her wooden bench beneath the window once again. The stars above looked brighter than ever before. And as children around the world whispered wishes into the night, the heavens listened carefully. Because somewhere high above the clouds, a star still shone for every wish.